Top 10 controversial Netflix series that should be cancelled. Number 10, The Witcher. This rundown wouldn't be finished without the most expected and most disappointing television adaptation in Netflix history. Fans of Andrzej Sapkowski's epic novels about the Witcher, Geralt, had hoped for years for a decent film version. However, they were literally terrified by the first season of the show. African-American actors, including the elves and witches, somehow appeared in a fictional medieval Europe. But the humor and flavor of the original text vanished, and the characters on screen began acting in ways that were not only inconsistent with the canon, but also with basic knowledge. The actors chosen for the leading roles particularly offended the devoted fans. Yennefer, the sharp-tongued wise witch, was portrayed as an inexperienced young girl, while Princess Ciri, who was supposed to be an immature teenager, became a beautiful young woman. However, the show's visuals, atmosphere, and Henry Cavill's excellent acting were praised by many viewers. IMDb gave The Witcher an 8.2 rating, and it has been renewed for at least 4 more seasons, despite the conflicting reviews. Number 9, Big Mouth. The controversies did not spare Netflix's animated series. The show Big Mouth is about a group of ordinary teenagers in the United States. They begin to see hormonal monsters, or fictitious friends, who seduce them into indecent thoughts and actions as they enter puberty. These very activities, practically speaking, ended up being indecent to such an extent that even the devotees of a comparative streaming show, BoJack Horseman, found the animation excessively profane and nauseating. Despite the numerous attacks, the show was able to earn a 7.9 out of 10 in international ratings and was renewed for a 7th season right after season 6's premiere. Due to its high age rating, the project was able to avoid cancellation. According to the explanation provided by the show's producers, Big Mouth was initially intended for adult viewers and certainly not for teenagers. Number 8, Wednesday. Since its release on November 23rd prior to Thanksgiving, Wednesday has become a huge hit on Netflix and on other social media platforms. The series is the principal, surprisingly realistic transformation of the Addams family in 24 years, and the main task, to a great extent, zero in exclusivity on Wednesday Addams, portrayed by Jenna Ortega. The show has gotten mostly good reviews from critics so far. Nearly all of them have especially praised Ortega's performance, the first Latina to play Wednesday. Ortega quickly won over audiences with the character's depth and her hilarious deadpan and gothic spirit. Wednesday has been receiving very impressive viewership numbers in addition to receiving favorable reviews. It set a new weekly record for the most watched Netflix television show. Wednesday surpassed Stranger Things' previous record of 341.2 million hours of viewing in a single week by a wide margin. There are many reasons to celebrate Wednesday, but one criticism is somewhat overshadowing the series. So why are Wednesday and Tim Burton getting backlash? Social media users and some critics began making racist accusations against the series and executive producer Tim Burton, who also directed 4 episodes shortly after Wednesday's release. This was due to the series' questionable decision to cast the show's few black actors as bullies or villains. All 3 of the show's main or recurring black actors, Joy Sunday, Iman Marson, and Tommy Earl Jenkins, followed this pattern. Sunday plays Bianca, a Nevermore student, while Jenkins and Marson play Noble and Lucas Walker, a father and son duo. The antagonistic nature of these characters is made clear to viewers early on. At Nevermore, Bianca is the mean girl who lives there, and she quickly becomes Wednesday's bully and nemesis. In addition, it is revealed that Bianca tricked her way into Nevermore by using her siren powers to control and coerce other people. She agrees to assist her mother's cultish Morningstar group, which uses manipulation to defraud clients under the guise of teaching them self-help, in an effort to conceal her actions. The question of whether or not Wednesday is racist is ultimately largely open to interpretation. However, it is abundantly clear that Burton has in the past made remarks that were racially charged, and that he rarely portrays black characters in his films. In light of this, the alleged racism that occurred on Wednesday should not be dismissed too quickly. Number 7, That 90s Show. That 90s Show is a revival of That 70s Show that focuses on Leia, the adolescent daughter of Eric and Donna. Many of the original series' themes and characters were carried over to the Next Generation series. Fans have some ideas for the upcoming season after the show's overall success in the first season. That 90s Show disappointed That 70s Show fans, even though this was a positive start for a new sitcom. Some of these viewers thought that, in comparison to the original, the show was a little too young and targeted younger viewers. Others were disappointed that this series overlooked pieces of the first series, for example, Michael Kelso having a daughter rather than a son. Number 6, The Crown. Not to mention the members of the British royal family this series has enraged. Two scandals that were previously unheard of that have already occurred in this drama series about Queen Elizabeth II's life and reign. First and foremost, the numerous heirs to the throne were extremely dissatisfied with how they were depicted on screen. It's not surprising. Shooting a historical series with characters who are still alive and disagree with the depiction of events is challenging. Second, the lead actress Claire Foy was paid less for the second season than actor Matt Smith, who only appeared in a few episodes. This was discovered by accident by fans. That is where the contention over chauvinist work installment disparity broke out. Netflix had to promise viewers that the Time's Up movement, which fights for equal pay, would receive the difference in pay. Number 5, 13 Reasons Why. This series will undoubtedly rank first among the Netflix projects with the most scandalous content. Additionally, everything has to do with the show's creators' open discussion of teen self-inflicted harm. Clay Jensen, a high school student, finds a box of audio tapes on his porch. In each of the tapes, his late classmate Hannah Baker explains why she ended her own life. In contrast to the other shows on the list, the controversy surrounding the series has been more beneficial than detrimental. The truth of the matter is that the makers of 13 Reasons Why, for what reason didn't romanticize self-destruction yet, going against the norm, cleared up for youngsters, guardians, and instructors on how to keep away from it. However, there was also criticism directed at this show. Particularly, the shocking scene of Hannah taking her own life in the final episode of the first season was criticized for being too naturalistic. Netflix made the difficult decision to remove it from the series' final cut after several arguments. Number 4, You. There are other shows with a serial ender as the main character, however Netflix's You takes a novel approach to the fad. Joe Goldberg, a disillusioned and determined character who truly believes that his obsession with various women is a genuine sign of love, is the protagonist of this series. Despite the show's success, some viewers are unable to ignore some harsh realities of being a You fan. Even though you don't have to like Joe to enjoy the intense show, many viewers find the show's romanticization of this dangerous ender problematic. Number 3, Messiah. Despite its relative obscurity, the Netflix series Messiah managed to elicit significant debate. A charismatic man who had persuaded others that he can perform miracles is the subject of an investigation by a CIA agent in this series. Even though most of the audience liked this show, critics didn't like this thriller as much. Messiah's alleged anti-Islamic sentiments and inaccurate portrayal of religious ideologies were a major flaw. Even though the creators tried to say that this piece of fiction was meant to spark thoughtful discussion, many viewers thought the overall message was negative, which probably contributed to the show's cancellation. Number 2, Insatiable. Despite its relatively high ratings, the creators of this show were forced to end it after season 2 due to its high level of controversy. It was alleged that the account of a high school student's journey to rapidly lose weight fat-shamed and discriminated against people with eating disorders. This comedy's message does appear to be ambiguous. Sure enough, there are a lot of shows like this in Hollywood where the main character, usually a woman, sweats and works hard to get the body they want. However, most of the time this action is presented as her own decision and a deliberate step in personal development. However, Insatiable implies that anyone who is overweight is, by default, an outsider, and that losing weight is the only way to be accepted. Teens who view content like this easily become depressed, anorexic, or bulimic. Over 100,000 people signed the petition against the show as a result, and Netflix gave in. Number 1, Dahmer. The Jeffrey Dahmer story caused just as much controversy as its title suggests. Even though critics and viewers found flaws in the series, it was one of last year's biggest hits. This portrayal of the notorious serial ender piqued the interest of true crime fans who praised Evan Peters' eerie portrayal of Dahmer. Regardless of the gathering of this series, it got scorching reviews. Even though the show tried to balance Dahmer and his victims, it only gave a half-hearted account of the lives of the victims. The show missed an opportunity to revolutionize the genre by primarily focusing on the passings of 17 young people. That's all for today.